So today we're going to talk about opposites. Opposites, again, probably review for most of us, are simply a set distance around the origin. So if I have a distance of 5 and I want to say the opposite of 5, we go the equal distance the other way. So the opposite of 5 is negative 5. If I say the opposite of negative 5, the distance here, the absolute value is 5. So you go 5 that way, it's 5. It is simply just changing the sign. It is equal distances from the origin. So, real quick review. You can pause it here and think what these answers are. The opposite of 3 is simply negative 3. The opposite of negative 6 is 6. The opposite of 112, negative 112. So what's the opposite of x? Just negative x. It doesn't matter where x is. We know it's just the opposite side distance. Opposite of 10 is negative 10. Opposite of a, negative a. So why is it important? Because it can be used in an addition operation to get 0. And I love 0. It's one of my 2 favorite numbers. 0 is a powerful number for us in algebra and math every day. So if I say 3 plus negative 3, 3 plus its opposite, that's 0. 7 plus negative 7, they're opposites of one another, 0. Negative 1, the opposite of that is 1. Negative 1 plus 1, 0. X plus negative x, x direction to the right, negative x back, 0. Very powerful for us as we go forward in algebra. It has another name besides opposite. It is sometimes called the additive inverse. You saw in the last problem, when we added it, we got 0. So the additive inverse creates 0. Again, it can be called opposite or it can be called additive inverse. It has 2 different names. And we can read problems as the opposite of when we see a negative sign. So if I see negative 6, I can say it another way. I can say that as the opposite of 6. Well, what's the opposite of 6? Negative 6. So I can rewrite this problem as the opposite of negative 6. What's the opposite of negative 6? Positive 6. And again, most of us from previous years know that negative is a positive, but it always works to use the opposite of. And if I use a problem here to end with, you probably can figure out this pretty quickly, but we have the opposite of 7 plus the opposite of the opposite of the opposite of 6. The opposite of 6 is negative 6. The opposite of negative 6 is positive 6. The opposite of positive 6 is negative 6. And again, an odd number of symbols will result in a negative sign. An even number of negatives results in a positive sign when they're multiplied. Here we get negative 7 plus negative 6, and we picture in our heads negative 7 to the left, and negative 6 to the left. Negative 7 plus negative 6 is negative 13. Again, opposites. It's just a tool for us in algebra.